And this man's not just pissed when he gets home. He's so pissed. He's had a laceration in his cock that needs 17 stitches and didn't go to hospital until the next day. How pissed have you got to be? Something that needs 17 stitches in your cock. How pissed do you have to be to look down and go, yeah, it's probably all right, that. I feel like the luckiest person alive to have survived this.
Yes, of course.
I would say everybody else in the world that doesn't have a snake and a hawk attack her at the same time is luckier than this lady. She is now using a £12,000 future inheritance to get a body lift.
Right. Okay.
I'm a bit worried about the phrase future inheritance, Baz.
Yes.
She booked this knowing she's going to kill her mum and get 12 grand in the inheritance.
Yeah, I mean, her mum wants to check her brakes in her car, what she's eating daily, plane tickets, all sorts of things.
Hello, and welcome to the Mildly Controversial Podcast. This week, I want to talk to you about a bunch of mad news stories that have turned up on my Apple News feed. I don't know what it is about me, whether I've triggered some kind of algorithm that says, like, you know, this guy loves batshit crazy news stories, but there seems to be a load of them cropping up in my on my Apple News feed. So we're going to go through a bunch of those.
Cool. Can you explain what Apple News feed is? Because I'm lost when it's a bit. Where's that come up?
Oh, do you not? If you just swipe right on your iPhone, it just says the news.
Oh, right.
It does on my phone. Fucking hell. Have I hacked into a part of the internet that doesn't exist, Baz? I don't understand. I thought everybody knew what it was.
I don't get any news feeds. All my stuff is on Google, which is just stuff about Marvel and celebrities. So, yeah, yours are way more interesting.
I promise you there will be no stories covered this evening in any way relating to Marvel or celebrities.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Sounds like the perfect news to me.
Yeah, right. The first one, Baz, I'm going straight in with a big one. On the actual news headline, there was a euphemism used in this headline, but I'm going to use the word that they meant.
Can I just say before you crack into it, I'm trying hard not to laugh with you saying I'm going straight in with the big one, then mention euphemisms.
And when you see the word that they used a euphemism for, you'll understand. You're absolutely bang on, man. So, the headline should have read, ouch, wife shoots husband in the cock with fishing harpoon because he didn't cook her dinner.
I'm glad that doesn't happen to everyone who doesn't cook dinner.
We'll get onto that conversation, Baz, shortly. But a furious wife shot her husband in the cock with a fishing harpoon because he went boozing with his pals instead of cooking her dinner. Chanita Coedrum, 43, waited up for Boonchuy Mooseaton. I'm pretty sure that I've nailed the pronunciation of both of those people's names. Before, in quotes, shooting him like a fish with a spear gun, piercing the base of his manhood. Boonchuy said his wife of 21 years then, quotes, twisted the spear. But this is the best bit, Baz. He was so drunk that he didn't go to hospital until the next day, where he received 17 stitches.
Shit.
So, and then finally he says, this guy from Buriram, Thailand, again, I've nailed the pronunciation of that, Baz,
like it,
said, and I quote, I will not return home for now until she cools down.
Mildly put.
Wise words, my friend. Wise words. So yeah, there's a few things to unpack there. Firstly, this woman is fucking batshit crazy, by the way. Because fair enough, if he's promised to cook her dinner and then not turned up and gone out on a piss with his mates instead. If I did that to my wife, I would expect her to be a bit upset with me when I came home, would probably be quite frosty. She'd probably gone to bed and stewed over it, and then I'd go to bed and she'd be really kind of making harumphy noises, and that's it, yeah? And then in the morning, she'd probably still be a bit pissed off. I'd apologise, and we'd get on with our lives. That's kind of how it would play out in my household. She definitely wouldn't have shot me in the cock with a fishing harpoon.
Well,
I'm confident enough to make that bold statement there, Baz.
well, so the one thing that stood out for me on your news story was wife of 20 years. That was correct, wasn't it?
21 years.
21 years. So I want to know, like, had this been stewing for all that time? Because that's a long time to be married and not shoot someone in the cock with a harpoon gun, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you're worrying me there now, Baz, because I've been married nearly 20 years, and if you're suggesting that 21 years is a long time to not shoot someone with a harpoon gun in the cock, that implies that that's on its way in my relationship, and I'm uncomfortable with that thought.
I'd seriously be checking Emma's wish list on Amazon right now.
Done. Yeah, so, look, maybe they missed out a bit. Wife shoots husband in the cock with fishing harpoon because he didn't cook her dinner ever in the 21-year marriage.
Yeah, it's been stewing.
I need to say it's still not okay.
No.
But it's getting closer to understandable. But yeah, it's the whole like I said, the supplementary. That's it. That's all I've got. That was the start and the finish of the news story.
Yeah.
And it was just the supplementary information of. She then twisted the spit, so she shot him in the cock.
The base of the cock as well, not even in the top.
I'm not sure she was that accurate, Baz. I don't think she was aiming exactly for the base of the cock. But anyway,
even so.
But she's got him, right? And then she's gone up and she's grabbed it and twisted it afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that's just... But I love the fact that it says he was so drunk. I mean, again, this is not justification for this woman shooting her husband in the cock with a harpoon. But it goes a little bit of the way to mitigation.
Yeah.
In that she's expecting him to come home and cook for dinner. And this man's not just pissed when he gets home. He's so pissed. He's had a laceration in his cock that needs 17 stitches and didn't go to hospital until the next day because it didn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear here. I think there's lots of our male listeners and viewers are probably feeling a bit tingly in the nether regions right now at the very thought of this.
Yeah. I mean, mate, that is next level pissed, that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, look, I've bumped into something when I'm pissed and woke up with like my nose is sore or my jaw's sore and that. But to be so pissed, you didn't feel enough pain or notice the damage, by the way, because it's not just a pain thing, is it?
No.
I mean, you look down and you think, how pissed have you got to be? Something that needs 17 stitches in your cock. How pissed do you have to be to look down and go, yeah, it's probably all right, that.
Well, but more importantly, you look down and like see the harpoon stuffed in your todger, and then she gives it a twist. I mean,
yeah,
irrespective of 17 stitches, if it was one, it'd still be quite horrific, right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm assuming that the harpoon wasn't still in there when he woke up in the morning. Do you know what I mean? He's woke up in the morning, gone. Oh, looked down and gone, oh shit, I meant to do that last night.
Well, I like for the benefit of the story that's how it genuinely was. He wakes up and there's a bloody harpoon stuck out of his knob.
I love the fact that was a factually accurate description, but also sounded like you were like someone's nan trying to swear. The bloody harpoon!
I'm trying to tone down the swearing. We've already mentioned cock enough times.
No, well, do you want to know the euphemism that they used?
Go on.
In the crotch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not really descriptive enough. It's only when it came back to the bit of saying base of his manhood that I understood what it meant.
Yeah.
I think they should have used that somewhere. I know. I'm wondering what else could they have done like that would have got past kind of that would have got past the I don't know, the internet police or whoever it is. You get that past. So what other euphemism could you like is fella?
Yeah. Well, we could have a whole podcast on names for your cock, couldn't
we? We've definitely got 45 minutes worth of names for penises, Baz.
I don't know why I know so many of them as well. I mean,
is it because people have called you them?
I've probably called myself more times than anything else, anyway.
But yeah, I just think like I wonder if like Willie might have got.
I don't know if that's anything other than a British child's one, really, because I've never heard Willy used anywhere else in the world.
No, but I'm trying to find a euphemism for them that would be more, because crotch is quite a large area.
Yeah, it is.
For me, crotch is anything kind of below belly button to kind of mid thigh.
Yeah, in fact, she would have done us all a big favour if she'd hit him in the balls. To be fair, because there's way more euphemisms for that, right?
Well, they definitely could have put balls. I mean, I'm not being funny though. That this story came from The Sun.
Oh, okay, that's even better.
They're not normally ones to kind of mince their words about stuff like this, are they?
Yeah, but I think you can't use cock in The Sun.
Okay. Again, Baz, I'm going to clip that. And a quote from you is, Baz, is like, so, Baz, have you got any advice for anybody going on holiday? Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clip me saying, Baz, have you got any advice for people going on holiday? And you're going, you can't use cock in The Sun.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
Save that for another podcast as well.
I am at some point when I can be asked, as I've mentioned on this podcast many, many times, I can't bear editing, but I do it because nobody else will.
Yes.
But at some point, I am going to edit a load of the stuff you've said completely out of context and just do a full 45-minute episode.
I thought most of what I said was out of context anyway.
Yeah, now you come to mention it, people probably wouldn't notice the difference. They're just like, I was going to say people would notice your clothes keep changing, but it's pretty much your fucking MO, that. So, do you know what I mean?
I love the idea of the Christmas special is you'll sort of go, Baz, what do you think about this? And then clip in a completely different answer from a different show, which is just because all my answers for everything, right? Because I've no idea what's going on, so I'll just say stuff.
But the point is, Baz, I don't want your answer to fit in.
Oh.
I want a completely obscure one, so
right, okay.
I will do that at some point. Maybe not for a full episode, but maybe a 5-minute video for YouTube or something.
I'm going to say some random stuff from now on.
Mate, I've got 2 years of it. You don't need to make an effort. I've got plenty. Right,
right. I'll be grown up from now on.
So the next one, I'm not going to read the headline because I want to do a build up to it. Okay, so. A man recently submitted testing, including DNA analysis, in a bid to see if he is a suitable donor as his wife needs a new kidney. The man said, "My wife got sick just after our son was born and now is in need of a kidney transplant. We checked with her relatives and none were a match or a viable donor. I knew it would be a long shot, so I decided to get tested to see if I could donate. I got a call the other day saying that I was a match. The testing found a DNA match so high it indicated the two are siblings."
Ooh. I don't even know what to make of this.
Now, we have listeners and viewers from many different parts of the world. Some parts, which we won't name, may think that's not unusual.
Alabama.
It is. Rochdale. They're the two we'll go with, Baz. So, I'll go back to the headline now. So, man adopted at birth discovers he has been married to his sister for 6 years.
Wow.
A man who was adopted at birth has discovered the woman he has been married to for the last 6 years and has 2 children with is his sister. He was given the news when the results came back, adding, "I was shocked and confused. The doctor explained that because of how DNA formation is passed down through the generations, a parent to a child could have at least a 50% match, and siblings could have a 0 to 100% match. It was rare to have a high match as husband and wife. I asked, what does that mean?" So I've cut out the bit, like the doctor basically explains and says what we've said before, is that, well, what does that mean? And the doctor's gone, well, you've been shagging your sister, pal. The man and his sister met 8 years ago. The pair exchanged numbers and eventually he transferred offices to be closer to her. He said, "We're related. No, I'm not kidding. I don't know what to do moving forward, but I know it may be wrong. She is my wife and the mother of our kids. After sharing his discovery on Reddit, users shared their thoughts. One user said, I mean, at this point, you're married with children already. You can't take that back, so I don't see much point in blowing worlds up, I guess.
Yeah.
Another user says, you already have kids, and they're assumed healthy since you didn't mention any crazy abnormalities.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. This next one, I can't help thinking this contains a bit of a kind of a veiled dig at him, basically. It says, if you're happy, you're happy. Donate the kidney to your sister wife and continue being great parents to your children.
Well, so this is the problem with this is like, so ostensibly it's a funny story because of of how it all came about, but there's a very similar story. I'm going to drag it down a little bit now in this country. Like years ago, that someone found out that on a similar thing, adopted that they got married, and then they had this whole quandary about, look, what do we do? They didn't have kids, I don't think, but it was that whole thing. Well, we love each other now, and we are in this sort of partnership. Like, I don't know, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's like,
it is an odd one, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, yeah. So this is the whole point of it. Is so whereabouts are these guys?
It doesn't say, but it was from a publication called Wales Online.
Oh,
but they've just got it from Reddit, so it could be anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, they're a pair of whales, are they? That's where they met.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is difficult, but strictly speaking, they should be forced to never
not have children.
Yeah. I'm not just that, not even try for children. They shouldn't be allowed to copulate.
Yes.
There's a euphemism for you. But yeah, it is difficult because obviously for the past, well, they've been married for 6 years. So I don't know how long they've been together. Oh, did it say?
8 years.
Yeah, they met 8 years ago. So, I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions on the nature of this good lady, but there's a potential she's been shagging him for 8 years.
Yeah.
She may not have waited till marriage, but yeah, it is a difficult one, isn't it? And by that I mean pretty much the whole world, other than those two, and a handful of nut jobs on Reddit who are saying, "Yeah, fuck it, it's fine." I'm pretty sure everybody else thinks they should definitely split up and not be allowed to do this anymore.
Yeah, but it's weird, don't it? Because like they're the parents of children. It's not to get too serious on it. Like, what do you do now? Oh, fucking hell, we'll never see each other again. Well, you would have
don't need to never see each other.
They'd have to just meet each other at Christmas, wouldn't they?
Yeah, just don't put the plug in the socket anymore. That's all I'm asking.
Well, no, the other thing would be like, your uncle's going to be looking after you today. Daddy!
That is the thing, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you're right. Like dad and uncle.
Yeah, dunkle.
That's it. Can you imagine that? Like one of these kids brings home a prospective partner and says, "Hi, I'd love you to meet my dad and my uncle."
Yeah.
I'm like,
oh,
there's only one person there. Yes, it was the easiest way I could think of to explain it.
Dunkle Gary.
Gary, it doesn't say his name.
Sorry, any Garys that have found themselves in this situation.
No, it doesn't say his name, but I'm thinking Gary is a distinct possibility, Baz.
Particularly if it's Wales.
Again, we don't know if these people are Welsh because it was on Wales Online, but it's obviously this is one of those things that we talked about this last time we covered some news stories, Baz.
Yeah,
is that I'm convinced that there are some online publications and even some print publications who there are some in quotes journalists, whose job it is just to go on Reddit and make a story out of it, or go on TikTok. You see it all the time on TikTok, don't you? It was like, internet creator does this and people say this.
Yes.
This video was seen by 45,000 people and there were 150 comments. Like it's, there were loads of stories like that. So it must be someone's job to do that. The poor thing.
So I have questions. I mean, like obviously we don't know the answer to my questions because it doesn't say it in the story. But presumably, like she may have brought them home. Oh no, he was adopted or she was adopted. Were they both adopted? Did you say?
He was adopted.
Yeah.
He was adopted at birth, so he was given up at birth.
So I'm assuming if they got married 6 years ago, that her and his parents are both there, and like unknowingly. Do you know what I'm saying?
They want to know because if his mum, if her mum, their mum, if their mum had given him up at birth, and there was no way of tracking stuff, she wouldn't have known either. So it's not like they've gone, oh yeah,
I know, but it's kind of weird. It's
you look just the same.
Yeah, can you imagine though? It's after like the boy we gave up all those years ago, can't possibly be him, can it? It fucking was.
I don't think anybody looks like a baby, though, do they?
Well, you imagine that sort of, once that's come out, and then it's like going around to see the pet, the mother-in-law. All right, mum.
Yes, exactly. And it's like it's a bit one of those that it's kind of like her mum or their mum.
Yes.
When he's had the DNA test, she's probably not told her daughter that she's got a son and gave it up for adoption. Yeah. So it was like, not only is it shit. That guy I've been shagging for 8 years is me brother.
Yeah.
It's also like, I didn't even know I had a brother.
Yep.
Oh, there's quite a lot there, isn't there?
It's kind of like, in terms of a mess, this is up there with the biggest ones, isn't it?
I think it is. And, I mean, if they live the rest of their lives according to what some people on Reddit have said, they'll just carry on with this fucked up relationship, and just to, like, pretend it didn't happen. But like I say, because it's now, I was going to say in the public domain, it's not really because the name's not out, but the doctors know. So I wonder if the doctors have an obligation to report that to the authorities or something.
Who knows? It can't be a common occurrence, can it? Because the chances of you meeting your adopted, brother or sister, which is quite slim.
Yeah, but I remember very clearly when Emma and I went for our first prenatal appointment at the hospital. They asked it like a questionnaire, asked us loads of questions, and one of the questions was, "Are you related?"
Okay.
So I wonder if they say, obviously these two didn't know, but if you did and you got down to that question, you went, "Are you related?" Yes.
Yeah.
How are you related? I believe it's because like first cousins is legal, but they would need to go right.
Yeah.
You need to consider what's going on here, like gene pool and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be interesting when they ask that question. Are you related? Yep, it's me brother.
Yeah. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a story that's like in my family, which is related to this, but after the podcast.
Okay, so when that's very interesting, Baz.
Yes, we'll keep the listeners on tenterhooks.
I'll tell you what, Baz. Tell me now, and I'll cut it out. Because I don't want you to forget.
No, I won't forget. It's been in my family a long time.
You don't trust me. You don't trust me to edit that out.
I'll tell the story. I'll tell the story when the red dots are not on the screen anymore.
When I press the stop recording button. Yes. Okay, fair enough. Right, I'm gonna write myself a big note.
Don't stop recording the podcast for the next 25 months.
Baz drama. There we go. Right, I'm going to hang that there.
Good.
Just so, yep. All right, that's very clear now.
Right, what you got next?
This is one of those that the headline pretty much tells the whole story, but it doesn't tell you how and why, which is the important bit in the story.
Excellent.
So, Texas woman attacked by a snake and a hawk at the same time whilst mowing the lawn.
What are the chances? In Texas, probably quite high, I would have thought, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, my initial thoughts on this were, is that two, like, different gangs? Is that a gang member of the snakes and a gang member of the hawks?
That's a good point.
Both went at her at the same time. She got caught up in the crossfire of some gang-related thing. But no. A snake wrapped itself around Peggy Jones after falling from the sky Shortly before, a hawk swooped down to try and retrieve it.
Oh, right.
So this is a hawk has been flying with the snake in its mouth and misplaced it onto Peggy. So the hawk swooped down to try and retrieve it, hacking at her arm in the process. And I don't have a photo. There is a photo attached to this. So if I remember, for the people watching on Facebook and YouTube, if I remember, I will put a picture of this woman up there because she's got like a pink bandage on her arm and she's got a massive smile on her face, bless her. I think there's been an awful lot of trauma in between this happening and that photograph, to be honest. I think she's done her she's done her dealing with the trauma and she's come out of the other side. So, yes, a Texas woman has recounted her terror after being attacked simultaneously by a hawk and a snake whilst mowing the lawn. Peggy Jones from Silsby near Beaumont was carrying out the garden chore when a snake fell on her, seemingly out of the sky, and wrapped itself around her arm, she told NBC affiliate KPRC-TV. The snake was squeezing so hard and I was waving my arm in the air, and then this hawk swooped down, clawing at my arm over and over, Miss Jones said. I just kept saying, "Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jesus!" I'm not surprised at all. So, Miss Jones said the hawk attempted at least 4 times to take the snake before eventually succeeding in its mission, leaving blood everywhere. It does say that the hawk succeeded as opposed to Jesus did help her.
Well, this is the biggest talking point of this whole story, right? Just proves that you can be as religious as you like, but when you need a bit of help, Jesus doesn't come.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Jesus did let the hawk fly away with the snake in the end. Her husband then ran out to see what was happening. I was yelling and screaming. He didn't know what I was saying. I thought I was bit by a snake, she added. Miss Jones said she then went to hospital where she was treated for the cuts inflicted on her by the hawk and bruises from the snake wrapping itself around her arm. Despite not being bitten by the snake, she had a narrow escape, saying, I discovered the lens on my glasses was broken and there was snake venom on my glasses. So that if she hadn't been wearing glasses, that would have been in her eye. So maybe that was Jesus that helped her by making her eyesight poor in the first place.
It doesn't mention whether her husband's name is Jesus, does it? Just
Jesus, help me, Jesus. Maybe it is. Maybe that's right, Baz. So, remarkably, she had previously survived a snake bite, adding, I feel like the luckiest person alive to have survived this.
Yes, of course. A snake falls on you from the sky, a hawk comes down to grab it, and you end up with venom in you, right? That's luck.
Yes. So she's the luckiest person in the world to survive this, Baz, right? I would like to offer a different opinion on who's lucky in life. And I would say everybody else in the world that doesn't have a snake and a hawk attack her at the same time is luckier than this lady.
Quite literally, yes.
I think she's very, very, very far down the list of luckiest people alive. She might be lucky to be alive, but that's very different. The final line is very kind of, and finally. Ms. Jones has since been back mowing her lawn under the close supervision of her husband. Just in case it happens again.
Oh, imagine if the story went on to say, and they've since found out they're brother and sister.
What, the snake and the hawk? That would be weird.
No, Miss Jones and the snake. Although Miss Jones she has a husband?
It says Ms.
Oh,
Jones.
Ms. Yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah. So I just refused to say Ms. I changed it to Miss.
Oh, it's less confusing then. She's one of those.
She's one of those.
She doesn't want anybody to know she's married or not married. That's what I meant by that.
Except when she's mowing a lawn,
Yes.
and now she wants the snakes and the hawks to know she's married because she's got backup from her
Exactly, and Jesus.
husband. Jesus, indeed.
There's a lot in this story, isn't there?
There is a lot in that story, Baz. And do you know what? When she said, help me, Jesus, I'd like to think that Jesus has been helping me by not throwing a fucking snake and a hawk at me at the same time. So, And that's more of a way that Jesus could have helped.
Well, I feel bad for the husband because surely she should have been shouting, help me name, rather than Jesus. Unless his name is Jesus, of course.
Exactly, Baz. I may have... she's called Jones, so that doesn't scream Hispanic.
Yeah.
But her husband, if she's gone Ms. Jones, that might be her maiden name, and she's kept it. And her husband may be called Jesus.
Yes.
So it may well be help me, Jesus. But I suspect it's not.
I love how we're just adding our own spin on this story. I mean, it started off ridiculous, and we've just made it even more ridiculous.
Well, we're just covering all different scenarios, Baz. It's our job as investigative journalists.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what we are. News analysts. That's what we are right now.
That's what we are, Baz. Exactly that.
Is the next one any more bizarre than this?
The next one is much less bizarre.
Oh, good. I like a bit of normality on this show.
But I do have... this is the one that will get a mildly controversial opinion out of me more than any of the other ones.
Okie doke.
Okay? Excuse me.
I thought you were going to tap the things together.
I did. That's what I was doing.
Next on the news tonight with Mike.
They don't do that anymore, Baz. They've got computers and stuff.
Yeah, I know. An iPad.
Right. Way to go, as in WEIGH.
Oh, yeah.
I was a crisp addict who gorged on 24 packs a day. I spent 12,000 on a gastric bypass, and now I've lost 7 stone.
Yep, okay.
That's the story. A crisp addict who gorged on 24 packets a day has lost 7 stone following a gastric bypass. Single mum of 2, Melissa Jones, 38, was 19 stone 9 before surgery, but now takes a size 12. The carer of Hereford said, "My comfort food was crisps. I'd get those 24 multi-packets and polish off the lot." 24 multi-packets? I'm assuming she means a multi-pack with 24 in it, not 24 six-packs.
Yes, there you go.
Right. I'm going to go back to assuming she means 24 individual packets in a multi-pack format. I'd go on holiday with my 2 boys and I wouldn't be able to fit in the pedal boats. It was embarrassing for me and them. After a gastric sleeve, I felt great, but emotionally I was in a terrible place. I'd had a few broken relationships and my fibromyalgia had gotten worse. I was comfort eating and my mobility was awful. But after the gastric band, I felt great. The weight just dropped off me and I started to feel human again. I feel great, and more importantly, I'm able to be the best version of myself for my 2 boys. Now I just need this excess skin removed so I can really start to live my life afresh. She is now using a £12,000 future inheritance to get a body lift.
Right. Okay.
I'm a bit worried about the phrase future inheritance, Baz.
Yes.
Has she stolen £12,000 off her mum? Or has she said, or has she booked this knowing she's going to kill her mum and get 12 grand in the inheritance?
It does sound like the latter.
It does sound a bit. It does give me a sense of foreboding, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, her mum wants to check her brakes in her car, what she's eating daily, plane tickets, all sorts of things.
If you are Melissa Jones's mum, just watch your back.
Yes.
There's a few things I wanted to unpack in this, Baz. So, firstly, I don't know when the phrase gastric sleeve or gastric bypass became a thing.
Yeah.
I recently found out because I know a few people have had them. It basically means they surgically remove 80% of your stomach.
Yep.
That's a. I don't understand where the sleeve and the thing comes. I don't know. I don't know. It should be called a most of your stomachectomy.
Yes.
That's what it should be called. So she's had this done, and do you know what? Loads of the stuff there is really positive, and can't fault and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that she had really low self-esteem, it was embarrassing for her and her sons, and now she feels much better about herself. She's got a better relationship with the kids. All of those things are wonderful. Okay. My argument is thus. I've done some calculations, Baz,
Yeah, go on.
as I tend to do. I've gone math on it again. So, 24 packets of Walkers is 3,100 calories.
Okay.
Okay? So she's just in those 24 packets of crisps. She's having 3,100 calories a day just in the crisps. Yeah, and 3,500 calories translates to 1 pound of body fat.
Correct.
Okay, so that means that by eating these crisps, she's putting on 0.9 pounds a day. Or conversely, if she's staying the same weight, which we'll assume she is, if she didn't eat those crisps, she could lose 0.9 pounds a day.
Yeah. Well,
So
mathematically, yes.
Except, again, I'm going maths on it. I am a fitness professional.
That's the one.
Okay, so I'm keeping my professional opinion out of this.
Okay.
I'm just going maths on it.
Yes.
Right? And yes, but look, but you can come at me to say it don't work like that, whatever, right? Here we go.
You know this anyway.
Yeah, here we go.
And it's not as funny, the real
No,
answer.
exactly, yeah. So if she were to not have 24 packets of Walker's crisps, I do apologise to people at Walker's. I've just called it Walker's because that's the one I went to for how many calories are in crisps.
Yeah, and if you want to sponsor the podcast, Walkers, feel free.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor the podcast on the back of us doing a story about someone who became so obese from eating crisps,
It's because they're the best crisps. Apart from
then
potatoes.
contact us. So, if she were to lose 0.9 pounds per day by not eating these crisps, it would take her 109 days of no crisps to lose that 7 stone that she paid 12 grand to lose.
Yeah.
So, even if she just cut down to 12 packets of crisps, which I think even she would admit is still excessive, she would lose 7 stone in 218 days, which is about 7 months.
Yeah.
I would suggest that the process of her justifying a gastric sleeve, booking in for the appointment, having the surgery and recovering from the surgery would probably be significantly more than 7 months. So, it also wouldn't have cost 12 grand to not eat all those crisps. She would have saved just under £1,000. So there's a £13,000 difference between what she paid, what she did, and what she could have done.
Yeah.
And I know. So ultimately, to lose 7 stone, she paid 12 grand, underwent major surgery, months of recovery. The alternative was not to buy crisps.
Yes.
Right? And I deliberately made that sound kind of blasé.
Yeah.
Right? But again, as a fitness professional, I understand that if you've got crisps in the house, it can be tempting that they're there and all that kind of stuff. But it's a very easy thing at the supermarket shelf to make a decision whether to buy something or not.
Yeah, they don't force them into your hand as they leave, do you?
No. She's not walked out of there with a trolley full of gold. Fucking hell, where did the crisps come from? Do you know what I mean? On no occasion has she done that. And no, that's never happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am. Look, don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing that she's in a much better headspace and all that kind of stuff. But the story could have been written. 19 stone 9 pound woman wastes 12 grand instead of stopping eating crisps.
Yeah. No, in fairness, it's not such a positive headline, is it?
And the picture of her would have had to be sad instead of happy.
Exactly.
I wasted 12 grand.
But not joking aside, I think we've discussed this before, haven't we? It's that point of when someone says, I got to 35 stone and decided I need to not put any more weight on. Like 35 stone's a big number. Why do you need to get to that point before you go, oh, that's enough now? Because 25 is a big number.
To be fair, in all seriousness, when people get to that sort of level, they're just like, well, fuck it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They urge it, like them being able to see a way out of it is gone by that stage, and it's just like, fuck it, this is just me, this is just what I do, and they'll project the blame elsewhere, and things like that. But let's come back from me being a little bit serious and just say the official advice of the mildly controversial podcast is: don't spend 12 grand on gastric surgery. Save £1,000 by not buying 24 packets of crisps every day of your life.
Yeah, well, actually, and according to a previous podcast, just only eating half the burrito that you make, you'll lose 6 stone. Which worked for Ollie last week, obviously, didn't it?
There you go.
Don't eat crisps, only eat half a burrito.
Do you know what the secret would have been? If this woman had given half her crisp to the cleaner. There you go.
That covers everything.
There you go. If you don't understand what we're talking about, listen to last week's with El Burrito Monster.
I used to work with a lad years ago, and he was very tall, about 6'7", but very, very heavy. And he used to eat a 6-pack of crisps every day for lunch or throughout the day. He'd go and buy one. And then he was asking me a few questions. I said, I need to lose weight. And I just said to him, just off the cuff as a joke, why don't you try eating like low-fat crisps? And he went, that's a good idea. Ended up losing all of his weight just by switching out to low-fat crisps, and still eating 6 packs a day. He obviously brought it down eventually, but yeah, he was.
That's where were you? Where were you when Melissa Jones Melissa Jones 38 needed you? Hey?
Well, I was too busy eating my Monster Munch. That's what it was. Because I too had a big problem with crisps years ago. I put on a load of weight by eating loads of packets of crisps.
And that's it. It's like you see a lot of these programs on TV. It was like, people who get massive, and it's just like, when you see them, thankfully in a better place, and the results have come, and they said like, how did you do it? I stopped drinking 8 litres of full sugar soda.
Yep.
I stopped eating 4 packets of biscuits and stuff. And again, we are being blasé about it, but that is always the fucking story in these things, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like I used to be, this all like a 10,000 pound human thing. It's like, what did you do differently? Well, the person, I couldn't get out of bed, so the person who's looking after me stopped bringing me fucking curries all the time. That's usually what it is.
It's bizarre though, isn't it? It is weird.
Yeah, well, you see a load of those. It was like those people who are so obese that they're kind of housebound.
Yeah, can't walk.
They go, he eats 4 curries, 24 packets of crisps,
14 pizzas,
drinks, all this kind of stuff a day. It was like, who the fuck's bringing him that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, he can't be doing it. He can't get out of bed without being winched.
Have you ever seen those programs then? There is always somebody, and it's like a caring, really skinny other half who's bringing them all this food, like, brown paper bags the size of a house full of McDonald's and stuff. And
and it is a psychological thing.
Yeah.
It is they think that is what they think that is making them happy.
Yeah.
And they do it that way. So we'll move on now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it got a bit serious, didn't it?
Again, we got to taking this subject seriously a little bit there.
So I think the message of that is eat baked products and not deep fried.
There you go. Or if you are currently eating an average of 24 packets of crisps a day, cut down to 12.
Yes, half the calories.
There you go.
What have you got that's funnier than that?
Nothing.
Oh.
And on that bombshell, that's where we'll end. No, I've got a couple of quick ones here, Baz. Well, there's one that I will mention, but we won't talk about it. There's really nothing much to talk about, but it's been everywhere.
Yeah.
And live worm found in Australian woman's brain in world first. So anyway, the long and the short of this story is that this woman was suffering from coughs and night sweats, which evolved into forgetfulness and depression. They scanned her brain, and they said there was an atypical lesion within the right frontal lobe of her brain. So they went to do a biopsy. When they did a biopsy, this little worm came out, and it turned out to be an 8-centimetre long worm that had been burrowing into her brain for a number of years.
I mean, like, obviously my first thought of a worm is like a garden worm. I'm sure it wasn't one of those, right?
No, it's it was quite a thin kind of rope thing. But interestingly, Australian parasitology or parasitology expert Merab Hussain, name check you, Merab, again nailed the pronunciation.
Love it.
Said she suspected the woman became an accidental host after using foraged plants contaminated with python feces and parasite eggs.
I mean, that's not going to happen in this country, is it?
Use them for cooking. So I'm thinking that maybe she didn't cook. Surely if you boil stuff like that, it's going to kill whatever worm might burrow in.
Well, if it doesn't...
It doesn't say how this thing ended up in her brain. It just said that she collected some foraged plants to use in cooking.
Yeah.
Which they assume were contaminated by pythons' feces and parasite eggs.
Yeah.
But they don't explain how gathering stuff to cook has transferred a worm or an egg.
I'm assuming it went through her sort of gastric system and ended up inside her blood, and that's the only way that I could figure it would get to her brain, unless she was, she missed it and it just burrowed itself into her head when she was asleep.
Either one of those works for me, Baz. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say about that one, really. There isn't really much to say about it. It's just like, whoa,
yeah.
that's been all over like TV news and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we've got two more here, Baz. This one here, I'm gonna file this one, Baz, under fucking idiot. And the headline says it all. A sperm donor chases a role in the lives of the 96 children he fathered.
Okay.
So, Dylan Stone Miller, 32, who fathered 96 children after he started donating sperm in college to earn money, reveals how he quit work to track down his offspring, whose names and birthdays he lists on a spreadsheet. A 32-year-old Georgia man who fathered at least 96 children via sperm donations is tracking his kids down, armed with a spreadsheet bearing their names and unique sperm bank ID that's helped them reconnect. So, I have a child, a daughter from a previous relationship. So I paid maintenance willingly, and it was an amicable situation. I gladly paid maintenance for my eldest daughter, Charlie, her upbringing. But I'm going to tell you, it's fucking expensive.
Yes, I've done the same thing myself. So
yeah, look, if anybody else is paying, if any other fathers are paying maintenance for one of their children, I implore you, don't sit down with a calculator and calculate how much you've paid over the years.
You'll cry.
I'm fucking distraught having done it. I've blocked out the number, but I can remember. But I mean, clearly, it's my beautiful daughter is worth every single penny. So my point being, okay, I know how much one costs, right?
Yeah.
This guy is actively chasing 96 to play a role in their life. And the story goes on to, like, some of them have gone, he can fuck off, he's not their dad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And some have gone, come and meet her sort of thing. But yeah, he's given up work to go and do this, which, like I say, I'm filing this over a fucking idiot. Stone Miller was at the time studying psychology at Georgia State. After he was arrested for underage drinking, his parents told him that he had to pony up for a lawyer. That must be an American thing. I don't know what pony up means. So he signed up to be a paid donor at Zytex, a prominent sperm bank based in Augusta. Stone Miller would provide a steady stream of donations.
Nice.
That's what it
That
says.
wasn't even carefully chosen, was it?
I'm just reading the words, Baz. He would provide a steady stream of donations for 6 years, collecting $100 apiece in the process.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's decent pay for a wank, isn't it?
I'm tempted, mate. I mean,
I don't know. At my age, I'm not sure I could fill that many vials. I mean, unless you want dust, of course.
That's it. You send yours in, and it goes. I'm sure if you rehydrate it with a bit of water, it'll be fine.
Oh, they think it was some kind of chemical warfare thing. There's dust in this envelope.
Yes. Can you test that to check it's not ricin?
Yes. It's got ricin.
As is. So basically, he was given permission from the sperm bank to reveal his identity to the offspring, after they turned 18. So he's gone around trying to find all these strange kids, and and he's given up work to go and do it.
It's turned into a full-time job.
Yeah, and he's given up work to go and do something that is going to cost him millions.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he doing? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So like I say, I'm filing that under fucking idiots.
Yeah.
We'll move on. And this, Baz, is a good one to finish on because it relates back to something we've said on a previous podcast.
Yep.
So, this is a story from Reuters. And
the news agency, the proper one.
Yes.
God.
And the pun headline is, about ducking time. And the story is, Apple are to tweak the iPhone autocorrect function.
Oh, okay, yes.
So we mentioned on a previous podcast, I can't stand it when your iPhone corrects fucking to ducking.
Yep.
Okay. So, one of the most notable happenings at Apple's event for developers on Monday is likely the iPhone maker's tweak that will keep its autocorrect feature from annoyingly correcting one of the most common expletives to ducking.
Yep.
In those moments when you just want to type a ducking word, well, the keyboard will learn it too, said Craig Federighi. Nailed the pronunciation.
Love it. You've done well tonight.
Cheers, mate. Apple's software chief. So basically, it's saying that going forward, the correction of ducking to fucking will no longer happen.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Baz, this news story was dated June the 5th.
Okay, yep.
After I read that, I tried typing the word fucking into my phone, and it was not corrected.
Oh, there you go.
And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that's a ducking brilliant way to finish it.
And on that bombshell, that something we moaned about in a previous episode is no longer something we need to moan about, and is no longer a mildly controversial opinion that needs to be had. So basically, that's one out of probably thousands that we've moaned about on this show, Baz.
Yep.
So one by one, these things are going to be corrected.
Yep.
So gradually, I'm going to tick them off, Baz, as the world comes to its senses and corrects all the things we've ever moaned about on this podcast.
Brilliant.
So,
well, good on us.
Good on us. See, you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm pretty sure iPhone no longer auto-correcting the word ducking when you mean fucking. I'm pretty sure that came because somebody somewhere at Apple listened to our podcast and thought, do you know what? Those boys have got a point and we need to correct it. And they did. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much, Baz, for joining me again. And thanks, everybody, for listening. Goodbye.
Ta-da.